कोई बात नहीं, स्टार्टिंग का पार्ट हम निकाल देंगे. All right, we are live as far as I know, but don't know.
Yes, we are.
We are live?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Yes, we are live. ठीक है, तो मैं स्टार्ट करूं?
Yes, sir. I'll start.
All right. So, hi everyone. Today we have with us team from SCMHRD, all the toppers of the Simbi exam, Tushar, Viraja, and Dhanur. So, Dhanur, Tushar, Viraja, we want to talk about your story today. आपने कैसे काम किया, कैसे स्टडी किया, this and that, all your ups and downs. So I want you to be as as candid as possible, because you are the role model for this year's students. कि भाई अगर आप कर सकते हो तो हम भी कर सकते हैं. Like they want to follow your steps. So I start with the overall introduction about the Simbi exam, the target setting point of view. So for everyone, students, your target is very simple. Your target is 99 percentile, but percentile is something we can't control. Well, I don't know how others are performing, how others are going to score. So best way to follow is the score-based strategy. Your target is to get 45 marks in one attempt or two attempts or three attempts. That all depend on you. So Tushar, Dhanur, I want you to talk about your attempts as well as we go along. कि आपने कितना attempt दिया, because there are times when if you give only one attempt, you get into a lot of stress. कि हो पाएगा, नहीं हो पाएगा, क्या होगा. So yeah, so giving multiple attempts is all okay. So this is on the basis of what we talked about. So there are four things to need to be taken care of: verbal, logic, quant, and the mock strategy. Because while I was in SMHRD, after talking to everyone, I could realize that one thing which was common with everyone was that everyone have a strategy for the exam. कि पहले मैथ्स करना है, कि पहले लॉजिक करना है, कि पहले क्या करना है. So I think that is a very important part of your MBA preparation. क्योंकि मैथ्स, वर्बल, लॉजिक is common for everyone, but how you perform. So what do you think, Tushar, Dhanur, and Viraja, ki how much percentage is your maths, verbal, logic, and how much percentage is mock strategy when it's come to the exam?
Sir, I think in my opinion, it's all about the mocks, because see, everyone is doing the studies, right? But then when you actually give a mock, that's when you realize, what the shortcomings are, where you're doing strong. And as you said, which section to attempt first. And that's a very good strategy whenever you're giving a mock, whenever you're giving the action SNAP exam. So I would recommend that, concentrate most on your mocks. And correct. Yes, that is the best strategy to.
So this 10-second rule was a wonderful thing. I don't remember who talked about that. So 10 seconds he takes per question. अगर उसमें से आंसर जमा तो वो सॉल्व करेगा, अगर उसको नहीं जमा तो वो छोड़ देगा. So very good strategy. So the speed strategy, this and that. So we are also launching a 2 months program. So target is to increase your score by 20 marks. Because whenever you give the first mock, now you always score less, 15, 18, 20. That's a typical score in the first couple of mocks. But gradually, once you start growing, you see 30, 40s, all these numbers will come into picture. So do you remember your range? What was your minimum score and what was your maximum score you have scored during the mocks? कुछ range याद है? किसी को?
It's very difficult for us to remember the range, because honestly, once you have converted.
वो भूलना चाहते हो. You want to forget that phase of MBA preparation. I understand.
All you really care about is the percentile that you have, and that really sticks with you.
Correct.
For me, I got a 99.23 percentile, and that is what stayed with me throughout. And not just for SNAP exam, but for other exams as well. So I only remember the percentile now. Once I'm in the college, so marks, I really do not remember how many marks I scored. But yes, while I was preparing, I was trying to secure as many marks as possible.
Right. So what I'm trying to say is that ups and downs are part of life. But starting might be around 15, but we have to grow it to 45. So that's the kind of a range you have to follow. So don't get bogged down. That, yaar, 20 number aa rahe hain, main SNAP do ke na do. Because there are times when you start doubting yourself. Not only for SNAP, for the other exams as well. CAT ho gaya, this and that ho gaya. So this year we have launched a dedicated site for Simbi, and this video is going to go here on the homepage. Okay, this is going to be our this video is kind of, I want you to make a kind of a roadmap for everyone. Okay, like, sir, I'm coming to you, I'm zero today. How you can help me, or what strategies you did that I can also try and improve myself so that I can be sitting next to you agle saal. Fine. So 3 things are important: mocks, shortcuts, and your studies. Because SNAP ka paper pattern is totally different when it comes to the CAT exam. You cannot crack SNAP exam only because you have taken the CAT exam. You have to give mocks, you have to practice the different type of questions which they will cover, which we are going to cover in some time. For example, verbal, the main focus on vocab. Jabki CAT means only about RC. So in every topic, logic में tradition logic, coin decoding, all these things become more important overnight. Maths is probably same apart from the level of difficulty and your mocks and mock taking strategy, because a 60-minute paper, you have no time to think. Fine. Rohit has a question how to score well the quant sections. We'll talk about in some time. Rohit will go into that detail. So SMHRD team, if any one of you want to say hi on the chat box, I'll make you the admin so that you can answer all their questions. So if any one of you is live on the chat,
Yes, we'll be doing it, sir.
Yeah, just say hi. I'll just make you the admin. Hello, everyone. Okay, nice. So we have got this thing. And I'll make you the admin.
And guys, keep all your questions in hand. We're here to answer all of them. So just be patient. We'll be taking you through the session, and we'll be happy to answer all your questions. Please put them in chat as and when you get a question.
Okay, superb. So I'm making you the admin. I made you the admin. So SMHRD public relations and communication is going to be, guys, your students, your main point of communication in this room, so that you can talk about any kind of doubts. So over to you guys. So anything you want to start with? Where you want to start with first?
Yes, sir. So I'll start off with a brief round of introduction first. So we are from the admissions and PR team of SCMHRD. I'm Tushar Nair. I scored 99.25 percentile in my SNAP last year, and currently I'm pursuing my MBA in business analytics from SCMHRD.
Right. Thank you, sir. Thank you for having us here. So my name is Dhanur Sikri, and I am pursuing my MBA in sales and marketing. I had a percentile of 99.23.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, sir, for having us over here. My name is Thane, and I had scored 99.38 percentile in my SNAP, and I'm currently pursuing my MBA in business analytics from SCMHRD.
Super.
Okay. Yeah. So with that done, we'll start with the session. So I'll guide you guys through what we're going to do today. So first of all, we'll take you through the basic timeline of what SNAP is, what the registration timeline looks like, when you should register, how many attempts you should take. We'll run you through some basic topics that are, the most expected topics in SNAP this year. And as 99 percentiles, as SNAP toppers from last year, we'll be giving you some insights that we feel will be very helpful to you, as you have questions as how many mocks, what to do, how to study. So we'll guide you through all of that. So with that said, let's get started. And as I said, whenever any of you has a question, put it in chat. We'll be more than happy to help out all of you. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay. So let's start off with how the paper pattern is going to look for SNAP. So the paper pattern hasn't changed this year. For any of you who has given SNAP previously, it's again 60 minutes, 60 questions. You get 1 minute more or less to answer each question. And all of you are going to get a maximum of 3 attempts. And there is no score normalization in SNAP. So the best score out of the 3 is going to be picked. So we feel that as the paper set as of SNAP, every paper is considered to be at the same difficulty. So some of you might find some paper to be easier or harder, but that's again based on your strengths and weaknesses. So I would again recommend you all to take all 3 attempts, since that gives you the best shot at actually maximizing your score. For every correct answer, you'll get 1 mark, and for every wrong answer, you'll be deducted 0.25 marks. So yes, there is negative marking in SNAP. So bifurcating the question section wise, as you can see, there are 15 questions that are coming from general English, 25 from logical and analytical reasoning, and 20 coming from quants and DI. So that gives you a total of 60 questions, 60 marks. Okay, moving ahead. Okay, so how many of you have already registered for SNAP? Can I get yeses and nos in the chat, please? Okay, so for those of you who haven't registered yet, as you can see, there's a QR code on the screen. Just scan this QR code, you'll be taken directly to the registration site and register. You don't need to pay right now. You can just register and keep your ID ready, and you can pay at a later point in time. And you can choose between any number of slots, 1, 2, or 3. So the registrations have begun on the 23rd of August, and it will be running until the 23rd of November. So I would suggest you to register as soon as possible, because that guarantees that you get a slot closer to your home. And if you, if you leave it more to the end of the timeline, you might get a slot that is more far away from your home, and that might be inconvenient for you. So the dates for the exams are as follows. So the first SNAP test will happen on the 10th of December. The second will be happening on the 17th, and the final SNAP will happen on the 22nd of December this year. Okay, so if any of you is having trouble actually scanning the QR code, our team has actually put the link to the site on the chat. You can just go to that link and register for SNAP right now. Okay, so moving on. Okay, so as I said, we've collated a list of the most important topics that you should definitely go through before attempting SNAP, and actually before even starting your mock series. So I would give a disclaimer that this is not an exhaustive set. So it's not like if you study this, you'll be done with the complete portion for SNAP. But these are the questions that you should definitely study and definitely be very thorough with if you want to actually ace SNAP this year. So let's start off with verbal and general English. This is my favorite section, by the way. So as Sir rightly said, there's a very good amount of focus on vocabulary and grammar in the SNAP test. So I would recommend you all to actually start reading newspapers if you have it already. That helps you to improve your vocabulary and also brush up your current affairs. And apart from that, you should also brush up your grammar. Grammar is asked extensively in SNAP, so that will help you maximize your verbal ability scores. Okay, moving on to logical reasoning. So as you can see, there are topics like blood relations, arrangements, analogy, series, coding, decoding, syllogisms. So these are topics that you might not find in many other management entrance exams. So this is why I would recommend you not to leave your SNAP preparations until the last moment. Don't keep that attitude that, okay, I'll start preparing in the first week of December and it'll be done in like 1 week. That does not work out. You have to start preparing right now. So as a SNAP topper from last year, I would tell you that this is exactly when I had started preparing last year. So around mid of September is where I had started. So brush up these topics first that you see on screen, and then you can start attempting your mocks. And yes, do not leave it until the last moment. This is the ideal time to start. Okay, so moving on to quantitative ability and data interpretation. As you can see, there are a lot of topics like percentages, profit, loss, interest, time, speed, distances. This is all topics from arithmetic. So you should have very strong arithmetic if you want to actually maximize your scores from the quant section. And apart from that, you'll also get questions from probability, geometry, algebra, PNC, functions as well. So do go through these topics and then start attempting your mocks. Okay, moving on. Okay, so how many of you here actually think that SNAP is an easy exam? Can I see your opinions in chat? SNAP is easy. If some of you find SNAP hard, put that too. What's your opinion about SNAP? Okay, great. I see Rohit Patel, slot 1 booked. That is great, Rohit. Why not all 3 slots? Moderate. Okay. YK says it's moderate. Okay. Any more opinions? Mid-level. Okay. Okay, so I would like to tell you that SNAP is not an easy exam. The way that SNAP tests you is different from other exams. So SNAP is both a speed and accuracy based exam. So as Sir said, you get 60 minutes to answer 60 questions, right? So you cannot get stuck up on any one question. As you said, one of us here told you that it's a 10-second strategy. So if you feel that in 10 seconds you can actually solve a question, then go ahead with it. I'll skip it and go to the next question. So yes, it's a speed and accuracy based exam. It's not easy. It's the way it tests you is different. Okay, the second one says that SNAP preparation can be done last minute. So as I said in the previous slide, there are topics in logical reasoning and some other sections as well, which are not, extensively taken up in some of the other exams. So leaving these preparation until the last minute will definitely hamper your scores and your progress. And I think personally, I would tell you that, your SNAP score depends on how many mocks you give and how well you analyze your mocks. So this is not something that you can do last minute. It's not done in 1 week. It's a process. And you have to actually, gradually improve your scores, and definitely do not leave it until the last moment. I think now is the ideal time to start. And yes, you should definitely get started right. Okay, the entrance exam is easier for engineers. Okay, so I think my fellow panelist Dhanur would be the right person to guide you on this. Dhanur, do you have anything to say on this?
Yes, thank you so much, Tushar. You try to bust some of the important myths regarding SNAP exam. And one of the myths is that it's an easy exam for engineers. So I'm from a commerce background, hardcore commerce person, and I was successful enough to secure a high percentile of 99.23. So I genuinely would urge you all to not think that the exam is easy for engineers. The level of difficulty of the paper is designed in such a manner that it stays consistent, and there's no additional bias or extra bias given to anyone from any specific stream. So we have a very healthy ratio of engineers and non-engineers at our campus. So rest assured, the entrance exam is relatively same for everyone. It depends entirely on the kind of preparation that you have done.
Correct. Thank you so much, Dadar. So I see a question in chat asking ideal number of mocks to give. So Josefa, there is no such ideal number of mocks. So it's up to how well you analyze your mocks. So don't just give don't give mocks for the sake of giving mocks and getting to a high number. I would suggest around 20 to 30 is a good number, but then with this number, you should actually, conduct thorough analysis after every mock and know what your weak topics are. And we'll be guiding you, we'll be giving you insights on all of this. And once you have any questions after that, you can put that in chat. Okay, so different slots have different difficulty levels. I saw another question based on this. So I would say, as I said, that everybody has their strengths, their weaknesses. So it could happen that in one of the slots, the verbal section was very hard, and verbal was your weak section. So what happens because of this is that you feel that, okay, this section was completely gone and the paper was really hard. So that's why I would recommend you take all three attempts for SNAP, because that makes sure that, okay, even if one paper, you had a bad day, everybody has a bad day, right? We all are entitled to have a bad day. But then that will make sure that even if you had that bad day on your first day, you have 2 more attempts. And apart from that, once you give the first attempt, right, you have 7 days. As I said, after the first paper on 10th, the second paper is on 17th. So you have 7 days to actually, analyze how the first paper was, what are the kind of questions that SNAP is actually expecting from you. So prepare those questions and then give the second one, and then actually have 7 more days until the third attempt. So I think it makes sure that you can actually maximize your score if you give all 3 attempts. And no, different slots do not have different difficulty levels. It's all based on your strengths and weaknesses. Okay, so GPI requires no preparation. So we'll be covering this later on in our presentation. But 50% of the weightage to get into SCMHRD is actually towards SNAP, but the other 50% actually goes to your GPI rounds. So after you get shortlisted, you have actually scored a high percentile like 98 plus. You'll be shortlisted for the GPI rounds, and that your score from that round actually determines whether or not you'll actually be a student of SCMHRD. So for this, in this rounds, you'll be tested on your teamwork skills and how well you actually convey who you are as a person. It'll be an informal round. Your in-person interaction is not going to be like, we're not going to be grilling you. It's going to be the panelists will actually look forward to know who you are as a person. And when you're at your comfort level, how well you can actually perform. That's what we want to test before getting you into SCMHRD. So yes, I think in your PI, you'll also, if your current affairs are very well updated, so that will always help in GEPI. So I would, again, as I said, start reading newspapers, and particularly the editorial sections will really help. So you can start with that. That will help you not only in your verbal ability sections, but also during your GEPI rounds.
Right. So, Tushar, sorry to cut you in. Yes, can you please take up a few questions as well? Because there are a lot of wonderful questions they have. So if you can engage them more, so they'll be more than happy.
Yes, sir, I was about to answer one of them, that there's an interesting question that there's a normalization of score. And what about SNAP? So exactly, as you rightly mentioned, that there is normalization in CAT, but there's no normalization in SNAP, which really, busts the myth around SNAP that different slots have different difficulty levels. So I personally gave 2 slots, the first and the third one. And the level of difficulty, it was not convincingly easy for me to say that the level of difficulty was easier in one exam and not the same case with any other. The questions and the pattern was different, and they were relatively same. The level of difficulty was same. As Tushar had already mentioned, that some questions you might find easy, some questions you might find difficult. And that's how the paper is designed, so that there's no unfair advantage given to anyone who has given the paper in the first slot or in the last slot or in the second slot. So that really busts the myths around SNAP.
Correct. And there's another question asking that I'm weak in English, please suggest what should I do? So as I said, the editorial sections from newspapers really helps you. And apart from that, something I used to do personally is listen to some podcasts that really help you refine your language. So I think we have Virja here who's an expert with podcasts. Virja, could you recommend some podcasts to the students?
Sure. podcast that I used to listen to, we at Admissions and PR have our very own podcast, Talk the Walk. It's available on Google Podcasts and Spotify as well, which you can listen to. We put in very valuable Snap insights, which will really be helpful for your exams. And apart from that, if you ask me, when I was an aspirant last year, I used to listen to two important podcasts every day. That is, one was HBR IdeaCast, and the second one was Times of India podcast. So the HBR IdeaCast gave me updates about having, building that business mindset. Since I'm from an engineering background, MBA would be a completely different thing from me. So to build that business mindset, I went through the HBR IdeaCast podcast, and the Times of India podcast kept me up to date with the news. So these are a few podcasts that you can follow along with the one that Admissions and PR has.
Yes.
Thank you so
So
much,
there
Viraj.
was one more thing regarding the SNAP exam that I would like to tell all the aspirants, that while you're preparing, so the level of difficulty of certain questions might be easier and from as compared to other management entrances. But the key to acing SNAP, and in order to secure a very high percentile, that's where the game is. And that's where your mocks, analyzing your mocks becomes very, very important, and not the number of mocks, as Tushar has already mentioned. And there are certain topics in logical reasoning like coding, decoding. I personally believe that coding, decoding is one such topic where you can't master, and you can't say that you're the master at it. So all you need is consistent practice and then analyzing it, because like first 10-second rule is very important in an exam like SNAP. You just need to identify the question, and in order to identify the question, you must have given enough number of mocks and analyze them properly. That will really help you.
Correct. And there's another question saying that I got 97 percentile in SNAP last year. How can I get 99? So I think, as Dhanu rightly said, practice makes perfect. So you will, you're in a very good state, I think, because you are already prepared. So it's an incremental gain that you need to get. But as you know, the last 2 percentile is the hardest climb. So what you can do is try to know which were your weakest topics and which were the topics that actually pulled your score down, right? I think you'll be the best person to judge that, and brush up those topics. Give a week or two for those topics, and then start giving marks again and try to see if you're, if it's making any change, if you're able to answer questions from those topics. And before you ask all your questions, we have some insights planned for you, as we'll be guiding you through. And then if you have any more questions, we'll be happy to take them. So to guide you through the insights, I'd be handing it over to Virja. Virja, would you guide the students?
Thank you, Tushar. So there are two pictures mentioned over here, and one is from Dear Zindagi. I'm pretty sure everybody has watched the movie, and a lot of you might have taken a lot of insights from this particular movie. So this is one particular insight that stuck with all of us very, very dearly. So it says that Albert Einstein ने कहा था, पागल वो होता है जो रोज रोज सेम काम करता है और चाहता है कि नतीजा अलग हो. So this very correctly applies to the number of mocks that you take. Let's say you've taken 10, 20 mocks, but then you haven't taken any time to analyze it, right? So that's going to be a problem. If, the more you analyze your mocks, the more better is your strategy going to get, and the more you're going to, keep building on your weaker concepts and stronger concepts accordingly. So make sure you take multiple mocks, make sure you analyze them, and then keep up with your strategies accordingly. Set clear and achievable goals. So by this, we mean that, by the time you start your preparations, a few months into your preparations and a few mocks into your preparations, you clearly get an idea about what are your weak concepts, what are your strong concepts. So ensure you build on your strong concepts, ensure you, study your weaker concepts and get your concepts cleared, and solve as many questions possible based on them, right? So setting clear and achievable goals really depends on the strategy that you take up. Can we have the next slide, please? Next, don't let one question derail your progress. So very, very important. Let's assume you've taken a lot of mocks and then you've started scoring really well, but then there comes this 1 or 2 mocks which, you score really low, and it might be towards the end of your exam. So there's absolutely no need to get demotivated by that particular score, because ultimately it's a mock. Identify what went wrong. There might be a concept that you have studied, but the question might have been twisted. So try to, understand, rather than looking at it as a failure, try to look at it as another perspective to solve that particular question and add it to your question bank of solving that particular question. So another strategy that we shared in the beginning was of gazing the question for 15 seconds and then identifying it if we are able to solve it or not. Because if you spend a lot of time on one particular question only to get it wrong, you might lose out on some other important questions that might give you marks ahead, right? So remember, don't let one question derail your progress. Identify your strong topics and target them to maximize your score, like we discussed earlier. Can we have the next slide, please? So this is one very important thing. Simulate a distraction-free exam environment and practice in actual test conditions. So when you're taking up your mocks, don't take up your mocks lightly. Even if it's the first mock that you're starting, take it very, very seriously. Ensure you create an exam-like environment in the room that you're going to take your mocks. Ensure you don't have any gadgets with you, no calculators. Just have a pen and a paper with you. Ensure that nobody disturbs you for one entire hour that you complete your mock. Give it with utmost sincerity, even if it's the very first mock, even if it's the very last mock, right? Ensure you have that integrity throughout the number of mocks that you take, so that the anxiety level that you have during your exams, it will automatically be wiped off through your practice. So ensure you have that particular environment ready when you're giving your mocks. And remember, one good or bad sport should not affect your process, right? Because ultimately what matters is how you perform on the last day. So keep calm. If you score very good, pat your back. If you score a little less, it's completely okay. Like I said earlier, rather than looking at it as a failure, try to take it as a new way to learn another concept, another new thing, right? So remember, one good or bad score should not affect your process. Can we have the next slide? Okay, so before we move on to the next slide, now that we've discussed our SNAP timeline, we've discussed the SNAP pattern, we've also discussed some of the important topics. We've also given you some of the SNAP insights from our entire team, because we were also aspirants at some point of time. So how about we give you an actual idea of what SNAP exam is like? Are you all ready for a SNAP-based mini quiz? Can we have yes and no's in the comments? Great. So we have arranged a mini SNAP-based quiz for all of you. Remember, we also have goodies for the top performers. So remember, it's a speed plus accuracy-based test. So take out your phones and scan this particular QR code. It will take you to a link, and the link would also be posted in the chat box if anyone of you is facing issues with the QR code. So scan this QR code or check the link in the chat box. The link has been posted. It will take you to a SNAP-based quiz. It will be a 10-minute quiz. There won't be any negative marking over here. So ensure you give your best shot, and speed plus accuracy is the key. Remember, there are goodies waiting for the winners. So all the very best. If you're facing any issues at any point of time, ensure you put them in the chat box so that we'll be able to help you out with the same.
Yes, and for everyone, just try to inculcate all the insights that we have tried to give you right now, and because that will really help. This is just to give you a real feel of how the SNAP exam will be, so do not take this lightly. Yes, there's one good thing, that there's no negative marking right now. You will get proper 1 marks for every correct answer, and there's no negative marking here, but that's not going to be the case in the SNAP exam. So try to inculcate all of the insights that Virja has given you right now. You will find some of the easy questions, you will find some difficult questions and some moderate level questions. So that's how it will be in the exam as well. So you'll have to devise your strategy in such a manner, like which question you want to attempt. Like personally, for me, time, speed, and distance was my favorite topic in arithmetics. But there were instances in the exam where the question was very difficult and I could not solve them in 1 minute. And in one of the mocks, I actually, attempted the question and I took a lot of time while solving it. And that's where my entire progress got derailed. So yes, these are the insights that we have personally curated for you all, so that you can have the, best SNAP score possible. And yes, do not get stuck up on one question.
Also, Omkar says born ready. So love the enthusiasm. I think I'm anticipating tough competition over here.
Yes, Virja, there are exciting prizes here.
Let's see how many of you are actually going to score a 10 out of 10, right? And I want all of you guys attempting all questions. As my friends here said, that there's no negative marking, attempt all questions. And do not use any calculator, like as we said, similar to an examination-like environment. So I think this will be a great gauge for you to actually see where you stand at this point in time. And it will help you to, mold your preparations in that way. And you get to know what your strengths and weaknesses are, which topics you're finding hard to solve. So yes, that will be a great first step for you to kickstart your preparations for SNAP. And if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. If you're facing any difficulty, please let us know. We're here to help you all.
Yes. Meanwhile, I'll just ask, Tushar, you said that verbal ability was your favorite question. So I'm sure that all the aspirants would love to know, what was your strategy? What was that extra mile that actually the extra effort that you took in order to secure a very high percentile?
Yeah, Daniel. So I think one thing I used to do is I used to read a lot. Reading, I think, is the key to actually maximizing. As I told the students, read newspapers, read editorial sections in newspapers, read books. Whenever if there's any particular genre you like, so read books from that genre, and then it'll, even if you feel like it's not studies, it'll help you learn new words, improve your vocabulary, improve your grammar, and read newspapers. And as I said, as Visa suggested, the podcast that she said, you can definitely check those podcasts out. It'll help you improve your vocabulary, improve your grammar. And that's what Snap is wanting of you in verbal section. And since verbal was my strongest section, as we told you, there are 15 questions in verbal, right? So my target was actually starting the paper with verbal always and try to finish that section in 7 to 8 minutes. So what I used to do is, just give 30 seconds or a little bit less than that to every question, because I know I'm strong at it, and then save that extra time to actually solve some of the other sections, which I knew I would require more time in. For example, logical reasoning is the arrangements for the topics that I usually felt I required a little bit more of time. So I used to get that time from the verbal section. So that will be different for you based on your strengths. So yes, I would always suggest you start with the strongest section. That always helps.
Right. And how about you, Virja? What was your strategy?
So apart from all the exam strategies that Tushar gave in, there were a few, I would like to suggest a few things that you can incorporate during your preparations. So if you speak about me, quants was a section that took a lot of preparation. So I, gave a lot of time for preparing quants. But then when it came to verbal, because it was my strong section as well, what I did was, rather than setting apart 1 or 2 hours for verbal preparations, let's say I studied quants for 4 hours and then I got a little bored. So I used to pick up a newspaper. I used to, just quickly read it through 10 minutes, like a break, and then move on to the logical section. Or I could just read a book, or if I'm bored, I could just go on a walk and listen to the podcast that I just mentioned. So these were a few things that saved a lot of time, plus got me really, really ready with my vocab, with, the written communication skills. So this helped me a lot. This is one technique I think everybody should incorporate. Will save them a lot of time, plus help them get a lot of information.
Right.
Okay.
So there's one question in the chat box. Can you just tell me the difference between cat and snap? So I'll just answer that question with my insight, what I did. So I was personally someone who was not very comfortable in logical reasoning. So I used to practice coding, decoding a lot. There was a time where I actually memorized the, letters to their codes by heart, and they would just come out instantly. So that is something which I did, and that's how the snap paper is different from the cat exam. You have a lot of questions, different type of questions wherein you need that extra practice. The level of difficulty might not be that high, but yes, in order to master that skill, in order to have that, in order to make sure that you are solving those questions quickly, you need consistent practice, which personally helped me a lot. Like one more thing, during my preparation, when I came to know about SCMHRD while I was searching for it, I accidentally came across the page Admissions and PR, and they have we as a committee, we also run a campaign called Let's Get Logical, wherein we in your free time, you can actually get the opportunity to solve logical reasoning questions, which will really, increase your speed when you're giving the exam. And all of these small differences will actually be very, very incremental for you, wherein you can land a very high percentile. So yes, the questions are different when it comes to CAT. You need to identify the type of question very quickly in the snap exam, since there's not a lot of time for you to ponder over it or think about it. And of course, that depends on practice. The more you practice, the easier it will be for you to identify which questions are your strongest points. So I used to start with quantitative ability. That was my strong section. And yes, logical reasoning was not that good, but through consistent practice, I was able to secure a very high, marks in that.
That's great, Dhanar. Being a non-engineer, quant was a strongest section.
Yes, ironically.
No wonder you're tough.
Yeah, ironically.
So how are you guys actually finding the test? Are you finding it easy, hard? Is everybody able to attempt it? Has anybody actually finished with the test?
Yes.
Josefa has already finished it.
Great. That's great, Josefa.
I hope, Josefa, you have scored 10 marks then. 10 on 10.
You still have 3 more minutes to answer the quiz.
Also, there was one question in the chat box that says, does gap year make any difference in PI? So if you understand the word PI, it means personal interaction. So I'm pretty sure, Rohit, you have had a very genuine reason for having a gap year. So ensure you justify that gap year very, very well and be your authentic self. Be very genuine about why you actually want to pursue an MBA. If your answer is convincing enough, it should not make a difference. So just ensure you're your authentic self and you have a very strong substances to your answer, and you should be good to go.
Great. I'm seeing some really high scores. Good going, guys. Looks like we have a lot of budding snap toppers here at SEALTking. Come on, you have 2 more minutes, after which the link will be closed. I want all of you to attempt all the questions. As I said, no negative marking. Please attempt all the questions and use all the time you have. There's no hurry. But yes, if 2 of you score the same, we'll be using time as a tiebreaker. Whoever has submitted the response first will be given the prize. So yes, keep speed in mind, but yes, be accurate. And actually selecting the correct answer is more important than solving it fast.
Yes, but in an exam like SNAP, of course, your speed will matter. And that's how we have come up with this short quiz for you all to give you the exact exam environment that will be. And yes, solving correctly is important, but solving quickly as well is kind of the same thing. You have to solve it very quickly and correctly.
Also, please ensure you are entering correct details in the form while you're submitting, because we are going to get in touch with the winners through the email IDs that you mentioned. So ensure those are correct.
So which section did you find hardest here? Which section is everybody finding the hardest from the quiz? Verbal, logical, or quants? Can I see some answers in the chat? Some people quant, some people verbal. Okay. Great. So you know what to start studying with. If I were you at this point in time, I would actually pick up my weakest section right now. And by the end of the month, I would start giving my mocks. So I think, like I see, quant is the most difficult section for most of you here. So yes, brush up the topics which we had shared with you earlier on. Start up with the arithmetic. That will help you get a good hang of the quant section in SNAP. Okay, so last 30 seconds, after which we'll be closing the quiz and moving on with the presentation. So any of you who hasn't submitted yet, yes, as Dadar said, as the admissions and PR team, we host various campaigns on all our social media platforms. We have put the links to all our social media platforms in the chat. So we have one campaign catering to everything you need. For example, we have one campaign to help you aid in your verbal preparations, one to aid your quant preparations, one for your logical preparations, and actually even one campaign called APR Weekly, in which we post weekly international and national news. So that will help you keep updated with the current affairs of the world. So yes, do follow us on all our social media platforms. It's going to aid you very well in your SNAP preparations for this year.
And these campaigns would help you not just with the SNAP preparation, but even post your SNAP exam for your GE PI preparations. Like Tushar just mentioned about the APR Weekly, we would also be posting something called as the 99 Percentilers Club, wherein all the 99 Percentilers will share how they kept themselves motivated. They would share their strategies. So a lot of campaigns are to be coming up. So ensure you follow the links available in the chat for the social media.
Okay, and time's up. So good job. I see some really good scores. Good job, guys. So let's move on to the presentation, and stay tuned. At the end of the presentation, we'll be announcing the winners and we'll be telling you who's won our vouchers. So great. So let's move on with the presentation. We've told you enough about SNAP now. We're going to tell you about our college and tell you why SCMHRD is the best free school for you. So Tanur, would you help the students with this?
Yes, thank you so much, Tushar. So right now that we have spoken about SNAP, let's just talk about how you can leverage SNAP to enter into a premier institute like SCMHRD. We established in 1993 and we are actually the Pearl batch of SCMHRD, and our MBA program is one of the most prestigious programs in the country. So we are amongst the top 5% of B schools in the world to have been accredited the prestigious AACSB accreditation, which is the Association to Advanced Collegiate Schools of Business. It gives you an international competitive edge over other B school students, since most companies and conglomerates are now looking to hire from B schools, hire graduates from B schools who have this accreditation, because as per this accreditation, the syllabus and the curriculum is designed in such a manner that it caters to the growing industry needs and demands. So you can rest assured with that the curriculum is always up to date, and you'll always be, market ready when you graduate from SCMHRD. Can I have the next slide, please? All right, so we have 3 courses which are offered at SCMHRD. One is the regular MBA core with different specialization in human resources, sales and marketing, finance and operations. And then we have our 2 separate niche courses, MBA in business analytics and MBA in infrastructure development and management. And alongside, you can see that the course-wise intake. So one thing that I would like to add, that business analytics and infrastructure development and management are really hot at the moment. And as I said, the growing industry demands and needs, we are trying to cater to that. And with that, we have come up with these courses. Last year, the batch intake for business analytics was 60, and this year we have increased it to 90 students. So that again, is a testament to how we are trying to inculcate the changes. And 180 is for the MBA core, and 60 is for MBA in infrastructure development and management, and 90 for business analytics. As you can see, the course-wise intake in MBA core, the number is relatively lesser, which kind of gives you a competitive edge. And because you are competing with the best of the best who have cleared SNAP exam. So that is not just beneficial for your MBA journey, but your personal journey as well, because that will widen your perspective. And of course, you'll get to interact with students who are pursuing MBA in business analytics and infrastructure development and management. So that would really give you a wider scope, and that will widen your horizon. And again, it will help you in your personal journeys as well. Can you have the next slide, please? Yes. So earlier we had mentioned regarding the SNAP exam and then the GEPI. So GEPI stands for Group Exercise and Personal Interaction. It's a very, very important stage, and you need to prepare for it consistently starting today. So because the SNAP scores that you will be getting, the scores will be scaled down to 50%, and the rest 50% will come from GE and PI. Again, the bifurcation or the weightage is given as 10% for group exercise and 40% for personal interaction. Now, you might have a doubt how group exercise is different from a group discussion, right? So in a group discussion, all you are doing is you're giving your points. Whereas in a group exercise, you are not just giving your points, you're trying to have a more collaborative approach, because that will, give you that edge over other students, because that's what we are looking for. You need to come up with a solution as a group and not just give your opinions. Of course, your opinions are important, your points are important, but at the same time, try to have a more collaborative approach, because that are the team building skills which are really important. And the rest is personal interaction, which is different from personal interview, where the interviewers will try to know more about you in detail, what you have done in life, what were your past acads, what were your internships, what are your hobbies, what do you like to do, because we at SCMHRD, we handpick students, and that's where personal interaction comes into place. So you need to be thorough, you need to have good communication skills, you need to be consistent with what you have done. And there was one more question that Virja has already answered regarding the gap year. So it does not really matter if you have a gap year or if you don't have a gap year. All it matters is how you justify your answer, what you were doing in that gap year. That is what is going to be of concern while we are selecting you at SCMHRD Pune. Yeah, so this is very, very important. You need to be consistent with that. Yes, next, please. Right. So all of this data is available on our website, the batch profiles. This is just to give you a little glimpse. So we maintain a very healthy gender diversity ratio of 68% and to 32%. This is for MBA core batch, and the average age is 24.2 years for the batch of 2022 and 2024. And the average work ex is 12.5 months. So I would just ask, how many of you have work ex here? How many of you are freshers? If you can just type in the chat box. Right. So as you can see that we maintain a very healthy ratio between people who are freshers, who are who have work experience. So as you can see in the slide, we have close to 50% of students who are freshers, and the rest 50% comprises of people who have work experience. Similarly, with engineering backgrounds, as most of the students, we have a very healthy ratio between engineering students and other students who are coming from different streams. So again, you can see that it's a very healthy ratio that we try to maintain at our college. and it won't really matter. Yeah, one of the question is that you haven't done any internship, will it affect GAPI? No, not really. If you have not done your internships, you can justify your gap years in different manners, what you were doing during that time. So just be consistent, and that's what the interviewers or the panelists are looking for. Yeah, can we have the next, please? Yes, and as we said that MBA in infrastructure development and management and MBA in business analytics are these are the hot courses that we are offering. And in infrastructure development and management, we are the only college which provides that specialization. So as you can see here also, the gender diversity ratio is very healthy, and the average work experience is 16.8 months and the average age 25.3 years. So if you are from a engineering background, let's say bachelor's in engineering or BTech you have done, or bachelor's in planning or architecture, then you do not need any work experience. But if you are from any other background, then you need a minimum work ex of 1 year in the relevant industry. Let's say infrastructure industry, you need a minimum work ex of 1 year. Similarly, for MBA in business analytics, the average work experience is 36.3 months and the average age being 26.6 years, as you need a minimum of 2 years work ex in order to pursue MBA in business analytics. And again, the gender diversity ratio, we are trying to maintain a very healthy ratio at our campus. Can we have the next one?
Okay, Dhanur, before you move on, I see a question asking freshers but have experience in family business. Okay, so we have plenty of people here in my batch, as I am from the BA batch. We have people who have actually worked in their families for a couple of years. So yes, that is also counted as work ex, but you need to have a certificate for the same. And you should actually be aware of, very well aware of what you did. And that's what the panelist is going to ask you for the interview. So yes, that also helps. Yes, Dhanur, you can continue.
Yes, now something that is very, very important and dear to each and every aspirant regarding the placements. And we are actually very proud to, to have been posting stellar placements consistently over the past. And we have the placement reports. This is the final placements for the batch of 2021-23, where the average placements was average package was 23.71 lakhs and the median was 22 lakhs, while the highest international package was 67.60 and the highest domestic was 35.02 lakhs. And when it comes to the summer placements for the batch of 2022-2024, our highest stipend for 2 months was 4.4 lakhs and the average being 2.52, while the median being 2.4 lakhs. So again, we have been posting some stellar numbers, and what's interesting to see is the percentage increase that we have had. So we have a 32.63% increase in the average stipend. So that's again a great number, which is a testament to say that we have been growing at a very rapid pace and we are expecting to grow even further going in the future. Yeah. Can we have the next one, please? Yes. Business analytics, as you can see, the highest was 33.61 and the average was 22.03, while the median was 21 lakhs. So again, this was for the batch of 2021-2023. We have been posting stellar placements in all fields. So one important factor I would like to mention is that for our MBA core batch, the average placements for the HR batch was 23.83, while the average for sales and marketing was 24.15. And similarly, the average package for finance was 21.97. So as you can see, in different specializations, we are growing consistently. And similarly for business analytics, the average being 22.03 and the median being 21. Similarly, like the summer placements that we have had, the highest being 2.50 lakhs, the stipend, and the average 1.51 lakhs, the median being 1.60 lakhs. So yes, this is a very interesting field to be in. The next one, please. Yes, similarly for infrastructure development and management, the highest was 27 lakhs and the average was 16.11, while the median being 15.30. And for infrastructure development and management, the highest stipend was 1.60 lakhs and the average being 0.92 lakhs and the median being 0.80 lakhs. So you can rest assured when it comes to placements, it's going to change your life. And not just for placements, whenever you are calculating the ROI, you need to look at the college as a whole. You need to have a very holistic development. So we have shown you the placement slide, how the placements look like at SCMHRD, and they've been growing at a phenomenal pace. And we would, urge you and just let you know that rest assured, all of this is taken care of. Yeah. Can we have the next slide, please? Now that's the interesting one. Yes, so I would just ask you all, what are your dream companies now that you are going to sit for these management entrance exams? So what are the dream companies that you might have? Any dream company, you can write that in the chat box.
And how many of you can actually see your dream company on the screen right here?
Yes, we have one JP Morgan, right? I'll just wait for others and then we can begin.
Plenty of JP Morgan's, great.
Yeah. Right. So, yes, so we have a lot of companies. Again, this is not a very exhaustive list. These are just some of the prominent recruiters that we have at our campus. So we have companies like Godrej coming on campus, Hindustan Unilever coming on campus, ITC coming on campus. And I'm sure each and every one of you have heard about Domino's, right? So the parent company of Domino's, Jubilant Foodworks, they come on campus. And then you have Thane coming at campus, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, EY, they come on campus. So JSW, JP Morgan, ICICI Bank, HSBC. So again, I can't name the entire list. This is just to give you a glimpse that all your favorite companies are coming on campus. And one of them have mentioned, yes, Hilti India is there as well, as you can see in the image here, that Hilti India is a very good company which comes for infrastructure development and management. And then we have the Aditya Birla group, the entire group that come on campus offering different kinds of roles that we have, Capgemini. So you just name the company and we have it at our campus.
Yes, this is all we could fit on the screen. That's the constraint here.
Yeah. Any other company that you have in mind? Right. So Tushar, why don't you join in and give a little glimpse of how our college life is at SCMHRD?
Sure, Dadar. So as you can see, what we're trying to do is actually get a bit of a campus to you, because we are hoping to have many of you on board with us next year. So you can see here we have an auditorium which can seat more than 500 people at once. So we're trying to give you a picture of what we do in a whole day at SCMHRD, right? So you can see we have our multi-sports arena where you can play a number of different sports like cricket, football, volleyball, basketball, you name it, everything can be played at once. We have a gym, we have a fully equipped gym. We have a swimming pool, it's an indoor swimming pool. We have great food here. I would personally recommend the food. The food at SCMHRD is amazing. I'm a foodie myself, and I can recommend that. Okay, as you see Urban Katta on the screen right here, this is our go-to place to actually fulfill our late night cravings. And yes, rest assured, all your your leisure activities, your academics, everything is covered very well at our SCMHRD campus, and we'd be more than happy to have you here next year.
Yes,
and experience all of it firsthand.
Yes, and you'll get multiple opportunities to pursue your hobbies. So there was one more question in the chat box regarding the background. So I come from a sports background, and I was able to convincingly state that in my interview rounds as well. So that won't really matter what background that you have. So all it matters that how you can convince the panelists in your interview. And as I said that I'm from a sports background, so I get a lot of opportunity to, play sports, cricket, football, badminton. Yes, time gets, it gets a little hectic, but time management is key. And that's what SCMHRD will teach you. We have a state-of-the-art swimming pool. We have the gymnasium as well. So all the fitness freaks, they spend most of the time at the gym. And then we have a lot of people who are interested in swimming as well. So yes, this is just a little glimpse that we would like to give. Our Nescafe is there. It's our partner after all the assignments that we have done. And the
great coffee, right?
Yeah, great coffee, by the way. So yeah, this is just to give you a glimpse of it. Right. So again, now I'll just ask you all, how many of you have seen Shark Tank? How many of you are aware of it? Since you are B school students, so you must be aware of Shark Tank, must have seen it. Anyone in the chat box? Right.
Shark Tank fans.
Yeah. Yeah, so our very own Vikas D. Nahar, he's the founder and CEO of Hapilo. We had the privilege of having him at our campus. He was the speaker at our induction ceremony. So an amazing guy and amazing sales and marketing person as well. So he's one of our alumni. We are really proud of him. He was the guest judge at Shark Tank. And speaking of Shark Tank, we also have Vidushi Vijayvargiya. She was the contestant. She came as a contestant. She's the founder of Isak Fragrances. And then we have other great alumni as well, namely Atulya Goswami. He's the HR director at General Mills. Then Gauravjit Singh, he's the head agency business of Meta. I'm sure most of you have heard about Meta. And then Yashwardhan Goenka, who's the vice president of HSBC. Manu Wadhwa, she's the CHRO of Sony Pictures. Indraneel Das, associate director, Perfetti. So as you can see, this is not a very exhaustive list. This is just something which we have tried to kind of fit in one slide so that you can understand that our alumni base is very strong. It's 6,500 plus strong. And one more alumni that I would like to name is Mr. Shashank Golani. He's the associate director for marketing at McDonald's. So we have illustrious alumni, and we are privileged to, have them as our, point of contacts as well. We can contact them, and it's a really proud feeling for us as well. So yeah. Moving on. All right, so we have spoken at length regarding the SNAP exam, how you can prepare for it, what are the important insights, the important dates that you can that you should keep in mind. And we have also spoken about SCMHRD, we have also spoken about GEPI. Now, this is one event that is very, very dear to us, and because we are trying to help the aspirants in the best possible manner. And this is one such opportunity which we also tried to avail at when we were aspirants in in the previous year, because when we were in your stage, we were looking for such opportunities. So we are coming up with SCMHRD Zeal. This is going to be the 5th edition of it. You can scan the QR code. It will redirect you to Unstop, which is a portal where all your business case studies are posted from, even when you're in college. So it will not just help you in your SNAP preparation. As you can see, the first round of the event is an online quiz, which is going to be a 30-minute, 30-question-based quiz, which will really help you in your SNAP preparation as well. It's better than the 10-minute quiz that we have had, and it's a free mock. So you do not have to pay any money for the same. And then after, we will shortlist students after this stage, and they will be required to submit a case study. Now, case study is a business case study wherein you are dealt with a business problem, and you have to give solutions for the same. So just imagine that it's a pre-MBA experience that we are trying to give the aspirants, because once you're in a B school, most of your life becomes a part of case studies, how you can solve a case study. And this event will help you to understand the approach of a case study. And once you understand that approach, half the battle is won there itself. So we are trying to not just help you for SNAP exam, but at the same time, we are trying to help you have a great MBA experience. So students who will be shortlisted from the second stage, they will be called to our campus. They'll be invited to our campus, and wherein they'll get the opportunity to present their case at SCMHRD Pune. They'll be able to present their case in front of the director and the judges that are there. So just imagine that you have that experience, and your interpersonal skills, your communication skills will get enhanced. You'll get that opportunity which very rare people will get. So this is one such opportunity which we are trying to give you, because we want you to have the best experience. So we are trying to give that pre-MBA experience. And yes, there are exciting prizes as well. And of course, certificates to boost your CV. So one of you had mentioned that you do not have an internship. So this is actually a great opportunity for you, wherein you can register for this opportunity. And hopefully you will be able to go through all the rounds, and you will be able to present in front of the director ma'am and the judges. So that's a great MBA experience for you. And just imagine that you have certificate, a national level case study winner by SCMHRD on your CV before you have actually come to SCMHRD, which you can leverage during your admissions round. And even after admissions, you can leverage it in your further MBA journey as well. So there, of course, there are cash prizes worth 10,000 rupees. So that's again an interesting one. And the last day to register for this is 18 September. Now I'll just ask Virja or Tushar, you'll just like to, if you would like to give your experiences for the same.
So one thing I would like to add, that you covered it beautifully actually, but many of you as students, we understand, we were in your shoes last year, you wouldn't know how to actually approach a case study, right? So for this, we have it covered, we have you all covered. We have planned a case study masterclass. It will be happening on the 27th of this month. So what we'll do here is that we have a lot of actual case study champions in our college who are national level winners, international level winners in case studies. So these people will actually be guiding you on to actually how to approach the case study, how to actually go about a case, and how to actually formulate your what your response is going to be, how you're going to solve, how to collect the data, where to collect the data from, and how to go about the approach to solve a case study. So for this, you have to actually follow us on our social media platforms. we'll be conveying the link for that session to you. So we'll be having our links to the social media handles in the chat. You can follow us, and we will be hosting this masterclass for all of your benefit.
Yes, and we are reiterating and we are re-emphasizing on this fact that this is one such opportunity which you should not be missing out on, since there are not a lot of B schools which are coming out with this opportunity, wherein you can get the exam preparation at the same time you'll get that MBA life or MBA experience. You'll get to come at the campus. You get to see how your life will be after you have converted a college like SCMHRD. And yes, there's one more question in the chat box that solely student driven. Yes, the entire campus at SCMHRD is student driven, which not just so in an MBA program, you not just understand the business concepts. You, because of the student driven culture that we have, each and everything is done by the students, from planning from the activities to, you know, conducting them and hosting. Like this is one such event that we are hosting, the admissions and PR team. So it's a student driven campus entirely, and it will give you that necessary managerial experience, or you will enhance your managerial skills, which is expected out of you once you graduate from a B school.
Yes, there's another question saying certificate for all participants. Yes, you'll have a participation certificate. So there's no need to actually, go out and win the competition. All of you will get a participation certificate.
To answer your question about attending the masterclass, you just have to follow us on the social media platforms, and over there we'll be conveying the date, the link, and everything for the masterclass. And yes, it is free of.
And one common question we get in all of our sessions is how to get mocks, where to get mocks from. So I think this is a very good opportunity for you to actually get a mini snap mock. If you register, it's a free mini snap mock. You get 30 questions to actually, as I said, analyzing was my and all of our key go-to to actually improve our scores. So you will be getting a 30 question based mock. You will get to know what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. So yes, registering for Zeal is definitely in your best interests. And I want all of you to register.
Also, Sandeepan, I see your question, certificate for all participants. Yes, all the participants would get a certificate, so that you can use that as your CV booster points while appearing for your GEs and PIs. So that'll be again a very good plus point for your CV. Also, Rohan asks, should we give exam in all 3 slots? Rohan, yes, like we discussed earlier about the strategies and everything. Yes, you should. It is recommended that you give all 3 slots, because there might be a slot where it might have a lot of questions which are based on your weaknesses, wherein the other slots might have a question based on the topics that you are very firm or strong about. So yes, it is recommended that you give all 3 shots, and because there is no normalization of scores, you have 3 shots at giving your best for something. So why not? Because the best of the 3 would be picked up. So yes.
Yes, and to answer this, I personally gave 2 slots, as I mentioned, because one of the slots, it was clashing with another exam. So having 3 attempts, that's the beauty of Snap exam. Having 3 attempts literally reduces your chances of overlapping with any other exam. That gives you great leeway, and that ensures that you do not miss out on a great opportunity to convert, to have an opportunity to convert a college like SCMHRD. So yes, you should be giving as many attempts as possible in order to, reduce your risk and maximizing your capability, or maybe maximizing your chances to convert a Premier B school.
I see a question from Rohit Patel saying, can you share your strategy? Okay, so I think incremental gains is one thing I would focus on. So whenever you give a mock and you suppose you score 30, so don't aim for like 40 or 42 in your next mock. That's not realistic, right? So whenever, this is what I used to do. If I score around 30 in one mock, I used to aim for 32 or 33 in the next mock. And how would I get this? Is I would take what was the weakest topic, which topic was the one which I could not answer any question from. And I would completely learn this topic before I gave my next mock. And this would actually guarantee that I get at least 1 or 2 questions from that topic, and that is something I will get right. And also, like whichever I did correct previously, I should obviously continue doing that, but add this extra thing to my repertoire, and that would help you increase the score. And it's a process. You have 2.5 months. You have enough time. As I said, don't leave it until the last moment. So you have enough time. I think for now, I think 2 or 3 mocks per week would be great. 2 mocks if you're busy, and concentrate that. Don't just give the mock for the sake of giving a mock. Analyze the mock and then give your next mock. So yes, that's one key strategy that I would like to give all of you.
So we have another question from Varun that says, can we start and complete the prep with Snap after CAT? Would it be sufficient? As of now, I'm fully devoted to CAT. Should I start for Snap now itself for verbal? So, Varun, like Tushar shared a few myths about Snap a few moments ago in the presentation. So we would recommend you start preparing simultaneously because there are a few topics that are applicable for CAT but not for Snap, and vice versa, right? So if you put any topic for last moment and then you start preparing at that point of time, it might prove to be a little bit of a hassle. So to avoid that, and in order for you to have a lot of confidence in whatever you're doing, we suggest you start preparing for Snap simultaneously. Register for Snap if you haven't already. Start taking up mocks so that it will give you practice. If not proper thorough preparation and everything, start with mocks at least so that you have an idea of what is the difference between CAT and Snap. So you automatically will get an update ki no, I cannot keep my preparation for Snap entirely for the last moment, right? So 1 or 2 mocks in it and you will already have an idea. I think you will answer your question by yourself. So we suggest start with it right away. The sooner the better.
Yes, and there's one more question. I want to ask you guys why Snap and why Symbiosis. So I think the answer of why Snap and why Symbiosis is correlated because the colleges that are there they're really great. Since now that I'm sitting at SCMHRD, in order to sit at SCMHRD and have a crack at it, a Snap exam was necessary. And that really provided me the opportunity to sit at a Premier B school, have an opportunity like that. Because as I said, the stellar placements are testament to why SCMHRD. And of course, there are a lot of locational advantages as well. Since we are located at Hinjawadi, which is an IT hub, which gives you an ample opportunity to do live projects, which are really important when you're in a B school, right? So there are a lot of advantages of that, which you may not understand right now, but yes, we are talking with experience. So that really helps. And of course, why Snap? Because while I was preparing for other management entrance exams as well, Snap was something which really, came in my mind quickly because of the 3 attempts that are there and the paper pattern itself. It's a 60-minute and a speed-based and accuracy-based exam as well. And as I said, that I was good at quantitative ability and verbal ability as well. But it was the logical reasoning part, which was, my weakest spot. But after practicing, I could understand, I could see that my scores have increased drastically and I'm able to secure very high percentile in my mocks as well. So that was not the case initially, but yes, slowly and steadily that happened. And yes, the ability or the opportunity to give the paper in 3 slots, that's a really big plus point. And how I, convinced myself of Snap. And because I was mostly convinced about the colleges, and SCMHRD is one of them.
So there's another question from Rohan that says, can we apply for various programs after exams, having some prediction about how much percentile I will get? So like we discussed earlier, there are 3 specializations. MBA core, which comprises of sales and marketing, finance, operations, and HR. And there's business analytics. And the third one is infrastructure development and management. So if you are fixated on either business analytics or infrastructure development and management, you'll have to choose beforehand. But then if you really want to go to the core part of the MBA, and you are still confused between your HR or to choose finance or sales and marketing, you can have the option to choose that once you enter the college. So, but if it is business analytics and IDM, you will have to make a choice during your admissions.
Okay, any more questions, guys? We're here to answer all your questions. Don't feel shy, put them all in chat. We're happy to answer them all.
Yes, one question, how is SCMHRD for finance? As I said initially, that the average package of, so I'll again say that, so the average package for finance was 21.97 lakhs, which is again a very good number. And there are a lot of good companies which come on campus. As I said that JP Morgan, they come on campus, HSBC comes on campus, ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank, they come on campus. So as you can see that if you choose any and every specialization, we've got that covered for you. We have great companies and we have the track record of our placements is very, very good. And we are growing at a very rapid pace, even in finance. So yes, the college is great for finance as well. I hope that answers your question.
If there are any more questions, please feel free to put them in the chat box because we were at your position, last year, and I'm pretty sure we at least had a lot of questions. So this is a great platform to have your doubts clear through an authentic source. So if there are any on our social media links, the links for the same would be put in the chat box. So we'll try to get back to you as soon as possible with all the answers.
And if there are no more questions, I think it's time to announce the winners of the quiz. Are you guys excited?
Yes, there's one more question from Sandeepan. So
I think
yes,
that was the ideal
Sandeepan,
person for this.
yeah. So SCMHRD is again a very good B school, a premier B school for marketing as well. As I said, the average package for marketing for the batch of 2021-2023 was 24.15 lakhs. So again, as you can see, we are posting stellar placements year on year, and the companies that come on campus like Godrej, ITC, HUL, and these are just the companies which are on top of my mind right now. So great companies come at campus. So you can rest assured the college is great for each and every specialization. All you have to do is focus on your SNAP preparations at the moment, and of course your GEPI preparations, because that are going to be equally important when you convert, in order to convert a college like SCMHRD. And yes, I'll just ask my team as well to post the link for SCMHRD Zeal as well, if anyone has trouble registering through the QR code. And then
We have one question from Varun that says, for anyone who is not so well in communication skills, what are the best resources that one can follow from now? So Varun, try reading. Reading will add a lot of knowledge, which will ultimately add to your speech. So when you have a lot of knowledge, you can speak with a lot of confidence. Also, you can try speaking in front of the mirror whenever possible. So, try giving a short speech, or try giving an extempore, like take out a random topic and try speaking about it for a minute. So I think these small things that you do every day would definitely add up to your preparation. That will definitely help you. So rather than, keeping some time aside towards the end of your preparations, okay, in these 15 days, I'll prepare for my communication skills, it's not going to help. So rather start taking small steps every single day, which will help.
And another thing you could do is actually start speaking English in your friend circles, speak English at home. I think, putting your learnings to the test is the best way to actually see how well you're doing and how well you're progressing.
Right. So I think, Tushar, we can move ahead with the next slide, which has all the, social media.
Yes. Can we have the next slide? Great.
So there's this QR code that displays the link for all of our social media platforms. Just quickly scan the QR code and it'll take you towards the appropriate links. Ensure you follow them, because we have a lot of interesting campaigns coming for you guys. Like Dhanur and Tushar mentioned, Body Wednesdays, which will help you with your vocab preparations. Varun, this might be a really helpful channel for you for your communication skills. So that would be helpful. Again, we have something called as Logical Amethyst that will help you for your question preparation for the logical part, right? So a lot of things coming up. Formally of the week, which will help you have a question formally bank towards the end of the series. So a lot of things are in place. So ensure you follow them. And there's another question. Can you share name of the podcast in the chat box, Rohit? The QR code that is displayed over here will also have the link to our podcast. It'll be there on Spotify and Google. The name of the podcast is Talk the Walk. So this is one podcast that we do. We at Admissions at PR as a team put out for you, which will have all the important information. Apart from that, there are a lot of podcasts. So the two that I recommended earlier was HBR Idea podcast and the Times of India podcast. So you can go through these.
And guys, we also have other events like this planned out for you before your SNAP. We'll be having MBA Jam, wherein we'll actually be helping you, like a last minute preparation for SNAP. So do follow us on our social media handles. You know where to get the links for the sessions from, where to attend the sessions. So it's in your best interest to actually follow us. Do scan the QR code. And if you can't, then we have the links to all our social media handles in chat again. Do click the link and follow us. And if you have any more questions, please let us know.
So should we move ahead and announce the name for the winners?
Sure.
Is everybody excited?
Yes, I am excited. Definitely.
Okay, great. So standing at second position, we have Viru. Congratulations, Viru. And standing at the first position, we have Rona. Congratulations, Rona. And I'm sure everybody has done terrific job in this particular quiz. The competition was neck to neck. We have all the marks over here. And yes, I see that a lot of people have done extremely well. So you guys are on track with your preparations already. Ensure you continue putting in the same effort and try to incorporate all the insights that all of us together have put together as a team. If you have any questions at any point of time, feel free to reach out to us through our social media handles. We'll always be there to help you out.
I think Rav sir is doing a great job, right? You can see some pretty high scores here. Good job, all of you. And any of you who like your names weren't taken out, you didn't do well. Don't get bogged down. It was just a reality check for you to show you where you stand right now and to show you that it's the best time to actually start preparing for your snap. So take it as a learning process, and yes, start preparing today.
All right, guys. I think we have tried to encapsulate each and every important part that was there. So it was, we would like to thank you guys for having us here and having the patience for us to host this event. We hope that we were helpful. And if you have any other doubts, just reach out to us. We'll be happy to help. And all the best for your preparations. And we hope to see you guys at SCMHRD.
Yes, definitely. We would like to have all of you at SCMHRD next year. Definitely. All the best to all of you for your snap. And as Dana said, we are happy to answer all your questions at any point in time. Do feel free to reach out to us whenever you wish. Thank you, all of you. Thank you, all of you, for patiently attending.
So thank you, Raghav, for having us. And all of you have been our lovely audience. So all the very best for your preparations. And we hope you do really well. And we hope to see a lot of you on campus next year.
Thank you, everyone. Good night. Bye.